The President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, has recognized Biafra as a sovereign state by inviting Biafra for his inauguration ceremony in the United States of America. The Biafra government was invited and confirmed to attend Donald Trump's inauguration on January 20th, 2025. Meanwhile, the United States of Biafra government has officially notified Nordic countries like Denmark, Finland, Iceland, Norway and Sweden of the restoration of Biafra's May 30th, 1967 Declaration of Independence. Denmark, Finland, Iceland and Norway confirmed receiving the notification, while Sweden's acknowledgement is pending. The United States of Biafra was registered as a non-profit corporation in Georgia, United States of America, indicating legal recognition. Plans are underway to establish the United States of Biafra's headquarters in Washington, D.C. within weeks. However, allegations were made against the Nigerian military for conducting unprovoked attacks, killings, and displacement in Biafra territories, especially in Anambra and Imo states. Calls were made to Amnesty International, the United Nations, the European Union, and other international bodies to intervene in the alleged human rights abuses in Biafra land. Southeast governors were criticized for prioritizing political gains over protecting citizens from violence and military oppression. The Biafra leadership claims to have submitted detailed documentation of the atrocities to relevant international authorities. Let me take you on a journey through a story that has been unfolding for decades. It's a story of resilience, hope, and a people's undying determination to carve out a place for themselves in the world. It's the story of Biafra, a name that has sparked debates, inspired movements, and carried the weight of a history both heartbreaking and hopeful. Imagine a nation that once existed in the minds and hearts of its people, declared itself independent, but was met with resistance so fierce that the struggle nearly erased its existence. Yet like a phoenix rising from the ashes, Biafra's spirit refused to be extinguished. Today, I want to share with you how that spirit has brought Biafra to the brink of recognition, standing tall and proud on the international stage. And remarkably, how this tale intersects with the inauguration of Donald John Trump as the President of the United States. Now, let's begin by painting a picture of where it all started. The year was 1967. For most people around the world, it was just another year, a time of hope and turmoil, as the 60s often were. But for the people of eastern Nigeria, it was a moment of profound significance. On May 30th, 1967, the Republic of Biafra was born, or at least it was declared. This was not a decision made lightly. It came after years of tensions, ethnic strife, and the failure of reconciliation efforts between the Igbo people and the Nigerian government. For the Igbo, it was a chance to create a nation where they could live in peace, free from persecution and violence. But as history often teaches us, dreams of independence are rarely smooth sailing. The declaration of Biafra's independence led to a brutal civil war, one that lasted until 1970. During those 3 years, the world witnessed horrors that left an indelible mark on those who lived through them. Famine, war crimes, and the loss of millions of lives turned what began as a political struggle into a humanitarian crisis. And when the dust settled, the dream of an independent Biafra seemed shattered. Yet the story does not end there. Decades later, the people of Biafra still hold on to that dream. They have never given up, and today we see the fruits of their determination. Just imagine, after all these years, the name Biafra is no longer whispered only in hushed tones. It is being spoken aloud, recognized, and even celebrated on the global stage. Let me bring you into the present, where this story takes a fascinating turn. It was just a few weeks ago when news broke that the government of Biafra had taken a bold step. They sent official notifications to several Nordic countries, Denmark, Finland, Iceland, Norway, and Sweden, reaffirming their 1967 Declaration of Independence. Now, this wasn't just a symbolic gesture. It was a carefully calculated move, one that signaled to the world that Biafra is ready to stand on its own once again. Can you imagine the courage it takes to make such a statement, especially after everything they've been through? And here's the remarkable part. 4 of those countries have acknowledged Biafra's notification. Sweden, known for its measured diplomacy, is expected to follow suit soon. This is no small victory. It's a moment that proves the world is starting to listen. And the story gets even more intriguing. Not content with just gaining recognition abroad, Biafra's leaders have been making strides in the United States. They've registered the United States of Biafra as a non-profit corporation in the state of Georgia. It may sound like a technicality, but it's a big deal. This move paves the way for Biafra to establish a legal presence in America, a critical step in their quest for international recognition. Plans are already underway to open their headquarters in Washington, D.C., and you can just feel the momentum building. But let me take a moment here to acknowledge the struggles that persist. Back home in the lands that Biafra calls its own, the situation is far from rosy. Reports have been coming in about unprovoked military aggression in areas like Anambra and Imo states. Families have been displaced, lives have been lost, and the shadow of violence looms large over communities that have already suffered so much. It's a grim reminder that the fight for independence isn't just about diplomacy and recognition. It's about ensuring safety and dignity for the people on the ground. The government of Biafra has been working tirelessly to document these atrocities and bring them to the attention of international organizations like Amnesty International, the United Nations, and the European Union. They're not just asking for recognition, they're demanding justice. And while the world's response has been mixed, the sheer determination of the Biafran people is a testament to their resilience. Now let's circle back to the United States and the upcoming inauguration of Donald John Trump. Yes, the same Donald John Trump who has a knack for making headlines and turning the world's attention toward unexpected places. On January 20th, 2025, as he takes the oath of office, the world will be watching. But here's the kicker. Among the invited guests is the government of the United States of Biafra. Think about what this means. For decades, Biafra has been fighting to be seen, to be heard, to be recognized. And now, they're not just being acknowledged, they're being invited to one of the most significant political events in the world. This isn't just a nod of approval, it's a statement. It's as if the Trump administration is saying, "We see you, we recognize you, and we welcome you." This moment isn't just about politics, it's about validation. For the people of Biafra, it's a reminder that their struggle has not been in vain. It's a moment that says, your identity matters, your sovereignty is real, and your dreams are valid. As we look ahead to that historic day, it's impossible not to feel a sense of awe at how far this journey has come. From the war-torn streets of the 1960s to the diplomatic halls of today, Biafra's story is one of incredible resilience. It's a story that reminds us all of the power of hope and the importance of standing up for what you believe in. And so, my dear friends, as we reflect on this remarkable tale, let us not forget the lessons it teaches us. Let us remember that the fight for justice is never easy, but it is always worth it. Let us honor the courage of those who dare to dream, even when the odds are stacked against them. And let us celebrate the moments, big and small, that remind us of the power of resilience and the beauty of hope. This is the story of Biafra. It's not just a story of a nation, it's a story of humanity's unyielding spirit. And as we continue to follow this journey, let us carry its lessons in our hearts, knowing that every step forward is a step toward a brighter, more just world. As we continue exploring the intricacies of this ongoing saga, it's important to remember the historical context that laid the foundation for the current Biafran movement. The 1967 Civil War, which began after the declaration of Biafra's independence, left deep scars on the people of Nigeria, especially the Igbos who were at the heart of Biafra's creation. The war, often referred to as the Nigerian Civil War, was not just a political battle. It was a war that ravaged families, communities, and generations of people. During the war, the world witnessed the horrors of a humanitarian crisis. As Biafra struggled to defend itself, one of the most painful consequences was the famine that struck the region. The images of starving children with emaciated bodies became iconic symbols of the war's brutality. The international community at the time was shocked by the scale of the devastation, but despite global awareness, help was slow to come, and the suffering continued for years. After the war ended, Biafra was officially reintegrated into Nigeria, but the wounds did not heal easily. For many of the Igbo people, it felt as though the dream of an independent Biafra had been snuffed out. Yet, as history often proves, even the most challenging chapters don't have the final word. In the decades following the war, the idea of Biafra continued to linger in the hearts of many, an idea that refused to be completely erased by political decisions or military might. In the 1990s and early 2000s, the concept of Biafran independence began to resurface with new energy. The Biafran struggle, once thought to be a closed chapter, was reignited by the younger generation who had not lived through the war, but had heard the stories, felt the pain, and witnessed the continued marginalization of the Igbo people. This new wave of activism was less about the violent uprising that marked the original Declaration of Independence, and more about peaceful advocacy, diplomatic recognition, and the pursuit of international awareness. Fast forward to the present day, and we see that Biafra's call for independence has evolved. It is no longer confined to the shores of Nigeria. The aspirations of Biafra have reached the far corners of the earth, resonating with diaspora communities in countries across Europe, North America, and even Asia. The Nigerian government, led by various administrations over the years, has faced growing pressure from Biafran separatists, those who believe in the legitimate right of the people of Biafra to govern themselves, free from the influence and control of the Nigerian government. But this movement is not just about nationalism, it's about self-determination, human rights, and the undeniable need for the Biafran people to have a voice in the global community. While the world may have moved on from the era of colonialism, the fight for self-determination is still a burning issue for many groups around the world, and Biafra is no exception. What has made this modern movement stand out is its strategic use of the global stage to bring attention to its cause. The media, social platforms, and international lobbying efforts have allowed the Biafran people to circumvent the traditional power structures that once kept them marginalized. Through these channels, they've been able to advocate for their cause, telling their story to the world in a way that no generation before them had the opportunity to do.
So today, I want to bring to the notice of the world that in Biafran land, in the southeast, the whole of the southeast, that there has been a genocidal attack that has been carried on by the Musa boys, by the Chief of Army Staff's boys, by the military of Nigeria in Anambra State. A lot of people have been died over the weekend. Since this year started, a lot of people have been died in Anambra State, and people are not saying anything about it. And in Olu State, which is Imo State, a lot of violence is going on there. A lot of onslaughts is going on there. Now, we have asked General Christopher Musa, in peace and in unity, let them remove their terrorist army and soldiers in our soil. They refuse. I want the Amnesty International to know that General Christopher Musa's boys and Christopher knows what is going on in the southeast. They have used their military to intimidate and suppress our people and make them to flee their homes. You can confirm these things that I'm saying, and I want to state this categorically clear that Christopher Musa knows exactly what the terrorists are doing in the southeast, because the onslaught going on in the southeast is being caused by the Nigerian military. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows this. Since the beginning of this year, Since the beginning of this year, it has been one call to another. Our people have been pied every single day, because they invited Mazi Simon Ekpa for questioning. And that is the opportunity that they had, these evil-minded people. This terrorist army had to infiltrate our villages, our homes, and our land. Our mothers and fathers can no longer go to the farm. Some days ago, they carried out an attack in Osumowo, leaving countless people unalive. This is happening because our prime minister is not around. Nigerian government should stop the genocidal attack that they are carrying out in the southeast, because this is getting out of hand. Bianco Juku, the foreign minister, this is where we need you to speak up. The foreign minister of the Nigerian state, please speak up. Our people are really buying. They are really buying our life, our people. There are so many evidences against this government that we have that we cannot put on my social media handle. I am telling the world this because Nigeria is destroying our country. Nigeria is destroying our state. The military are there unprovoked, buying innocent civilians that are not armed. The armed people, they are not looking for them. They are just there buying our people, destroying the lives and properties of our people, of the Indigo. And nobody is talking about it. No governor is speaking about it. Everybody kept mute because the Fulani are paying them to become the governors of their state. And they are trying their best to make sure they come back to power, to come back to power in the next election. And this is the reason why they are doing all this evil. People are losing their life. We need the Amnesty International to know that General Christopher Musa boys are destroying our farmlands and our homes, our villages, buying our people left and right. Everywhere you go in the southeast today, this has never happened before in the history of Nigeria. This has never happened before in the history of that country called Nigeria. This spy-biness is becoming too much. The president is a Muslim, the vice president is a Muslim, and they are going after the Christians in the southeast, and nobody is speaking about it. Nobody is talking about it. The other day, the governor of Enugu State came out and placed a bounty on his own brothers. A bounty of 10 million, that anyone that can give credible information on where the Biafran liberation armies are, that they will award that individual 10 million naira. And now we need you to place that same bounty on the people who are buying our people in the whole of the southeast. The governors of the southeast are not speaking up because of their selfish interests of elections to be re-elected in office. And we want to use this opportunity to tell General Christopher Musa that Biafran land is now a sovereignty. All your terrorist army that are heading these crimes, remove them from our land. How come do you militarize the whole of the southeast? How come are there so many checkpoints and still yet there is this onslaught going on in the southeast? There is this spy-biness all going on in the southeast. And we want the world to know that our chief of staff, Dr. Ngozi Orabweze, has forwarded most of this documentation to the appropriate authority on what is going on in the southeast, most especially Imo State, Osumowo, Mbitolu, and some villages. And there are some villages in Imo State that people have deserted from those villages, and the Amnesty International can do their findings and find out that these things that we are saying is true. Bianco Juku, we need you to speak up. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's wife, please, now this is where we need you to write to the UN, to write to the EU, to write to Amnesty International, and telling them exactly what is happening in the southeast as we speak today, because a lot of people are losing their lives. These gunmen entered a village and opened fire on innocent citizens that were not armed. I'm not supposed to be here I'm not supposed to be on this platform and start showing you videos because they will take my account down. But we are using this medium. I'm using this my platform to make sure that the world hears my voice. This is the first time I will ask anybody to share my video to get to the appropriate authority. Tinubu is spying our people. Tinubu, the president of Nigeria, is destroying the southeast with his people. This man is a Muslim. His voice is a Muslim. They want to make sure that they Islamize the southeast by force and allow terrorists to overrun our villages and our homes. If not, why have they not released Mazi Nnamdi Kanu up to today? Upon all the dignitaries' plead on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's release, upon all the sensitive offices in Nigeria and international plead on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's release, they still held him bound for doing nothing. Please, we are begging the world. Evidences we can provide. Now, Bianca Ojukwu, the foreign minister, we are calling on you. Our people is going. Our people is going. Our villages are overrun. Please, today we are still looking for one of my cousins, whose name is Ikechukwu. I don't want to call his last name for security reasons. We are still looking for him. We are still looking for him. Going to 2 months that this boy left the house, he has not returned, and we are suspecting that he's no more living. He has been unalived by the Nigerian state, because the first attack he had was on a checkpoint where he was almost kidnapped. The second attempt has worked for them. We are still looking for this young man. He's very fair in complexion. In fact, he's an albino. Up to today, we have not seen him. We don't know if he's alive or is gone, but we know he's no more living, because if he was, his phone numbers would have been going through. We want the world to know what we are facing today. I am not here just ranting, but I am here to pass a message that our people is being slaughtered every single day. Please, for the first time, the world needs to hear this, that the Nigerian government agency, both the police, the soldiers, are the one responsible for the onslaught going on in the southeast Biafran land as we speak today. Tomorrow they must start looking for me, put bounty on me. I don't care, but I will always come here to speak the truth. Imo State is no go area today. A governor that was fought in position, the Supreme Court brought him back because they know he will be the one to carry out attacks on his citizens, and they gave him the governorship of Imo State. And since then, the people of Imo State has not rested. If this is a lie, please respond, so that whatever your responses are, they will see it on my platform. So General Christopher Musa reported Simon Ekpa, kept reporting Mazi Simon Ekpa. The reason why Musa was doing this was so that he can Finland can take Mazi Simon Ekpa down, so that his armies and his terrorist soldiers would be able to infiltrate our land. And that is what they are doing as we speak. We know their plans. We know their plans. Like I said, our able COS, Madam Dr. Ngozi Arabueze, has forwarded every necessary document that needs to be forwarded to the appropriate authority to be looked into. Please, we need urgent intervention by the United States, United Kingdom, and other meanwhile international bodies that are against human rights violation in the world. And this has prompted me to say that the soldiers in our land should leave.
Look at it. Building free station indiscriminately everywhere. All the successive local government chairman approving free station everywhere. in all the neighborhood in Nike, Ugogo Express, free station everywhere. Approving free station everywhere. Beloved Anik, I'm calling on you to stop all this menace going on in our community. They don't even take consideration of every neighborhood. I remember writing to the Catholic Church to stop the free station located in front of All Saints Catholic Church, but the Reverend Father there couldn't do anything. They left me fighting the cause all alone. This is it. This is free station in Ibagwa. It's burning now, right now. The free station is burning. I'm calling on Kitamba, the governor of Enugu State, to stop the indiscriminate election of free station everywhere. Look at it.
Somebody now walk now. This is early in the morning. Early in the morning. Motor pass now walk now. Somebody motor passing you now walk. Fire service in Anambra State.
This is the end of our news update. Please click the icon on the top right corner of your screen to watch my next video. You will enjoy it. I will see you again in my next update. Enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye for now.